Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to get started. I'd like to call to order the City Council, the Successor Agency, the Finance Power Authority. Roll call, please.
Council Member Authority Member Johnson.
Present.
Mann.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chair Christ.
Present.
Mayor Paris. We have a quorum.
Do we have a motion to excuse?
So moved for Mayor Paris.
I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. So ordered. Housing Authority, please.
Authority Member Harvey.
Present.
Mann.
Present.
Smith.
Here.
Vice Chair Christ.
Present.
Chair Zetto. We have a quorum.
I'll make a motion to excuse Deputy Mayor Kitty Zetto.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We're going to have the invocation by the Spiritual Assembly.
Thou compassionate Lord, thou who art generous and able, we are the servants I thus sheltered beneath thy providence. Cast thy glance of favor upon us. Give light to our eyes, hearing to our ears, and understanding and love to our hearts. Render our souls joyous and happy through thy glad tidings. O Lord, point out to us the pathway of thy kingdom, and resuscitate all of us through the breath of the Holy Spirit. Bestow upon us life everlasting and confer upon us never-ending honor. Unify mankind and illumine the world of humanity. May we all follow thy pathway, long for thy good pleasure, and seek the mysterious of thy kingdom. O God, unite us and connect our hearts with thy bond. Verily thou art the giver, thou art the kind one, and thou art the Almighty. Abdul Baha.
Thank you. Remain standing for our pledge. Mr. Fuller, will you lead us, please?
Please put your hand over your heart and repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Emmett Morrell. He's going to talk to us about Henry Hearn's 80th birthday celebration. Welcome, Emmett.
By the way, you were fantastic at the prayer breakfast.
Thank you, sir.
Really stepped in well. You know, I'm really speaking to you out here as much as to the...
Do you want to turn around?
Yeah, I prefer that.
Put the mic. There you go.
Okay. I've known Bishop for about 25 years. I don't think there's anything outside of his family and the Lord, and in opposite order, that he loves more than the city of Lancaster. For those of you that don't know, he was uniquely put into a position to serve this community. And when it came time for his tenure to end, it was important for him to make sure that the new mayor coming in would not have to deal with economic problems. And if you remember, when he left, we were in the throes of as bad a financial crisis we've ever known. Bishop took great pride, and it was important for him to leave not only with no debt, but even with a surplus. Bishop's about to leave the Livingstone Cathedral Worship as the reigning pastor and the bishop. And he became very serious in talking to myself and Elder Hampton, who's back there, and the rest of the leadership of the church. He said, I want nothing more from my birthday. And believe me, we've gotten him T-bone steaks. We've gotten him whatever he wanted on his birthday. He was so serious and so emphatic about us understanding there's only one thing that he wanted. He wanted to leave Livingstone Cathedral Worship with no debt. And he wanted the new pastor to be concerned with one issue and one issue only, and that was saving souls. And all he wanted for his birthday was, and he didn't design me being here or for Elder Hampton to be here. This is something we felt we wanted to do for him. He's having a party. It's on the 31st of this month, and it's at the Oasis. And at the Odyssey, and if you would want to take part, even if you can't come, we have all you would need in order to get a ticket, and the tickets are $65, and every cent, and that's a guarantee, every cent will go toward alleviating this debt. And we're not in the throes of bankruptcy or anything like that. He just wants them to have the same opportunity that he gave Mayor Rex Paris. Come into a place knowing all he has to deal with is service for the people. Any of you are interested, I'm going to leave envelopes here that you can mail out. And if you want to get tickets, Elder Hampton has tickets already. But this is one of the, I hate selling tickets. This whole thing is very difficult for me. And that's why I could never be a preacher. But in reality, I've never enjoyed more going out to drum up support for a man I think is one of the most outstanding individuals this community has ever produced. And I used to be one of his greatest critics. He actually got me and Rex to be friends. Now that tells you how great he is. I say all that to say if there's anything that you can do to help, donations or whatever, it'll be right here. And thank you for the opportunity to speak, okay?
Thank you.
I know this is not...
Thank you, Emmett. And, you know, Henry's been a great person to serve with, under, and if it wasn't for Henry and the other members of the other city councils, I don't think this city would be what it is today. I think that Henry was given to us at a crossroads in where we were going to go as a community, and I think he's taken us through those crossroads, and we are a better community because of him.
Very quickly, just to you, I think the diversity that he brought to it was not just because of his complexion. It was his diversity and his overwhelming love of the Lord. He not only wanted us to become brothers in our Christian movement, he wanted us to also be part of a unique family. Lancaster has become that. And I think all credit has to go to that city manager also. Mark is special. Thank you.
Emmett, thanks for your support.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to have a 2013 Global Leadership Summit. And the presenter is David Parker. He is the senior pastor at Desert Vineyard Fellowship. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me speak. I like the way Emmett did it. I'd rather turn around, but I'll do it this way. You know, there's some things in life you don't want to know how they're done. I hear that how hot dogs are made. That's one of them. I had a few months ago my second total hip replacement. You don't want to know how that's done. But leadership is not one of those things that you don't want to know how it's done. And in our setting at the Desert Vineyard, we have between 5,000 and 6,000 people who come through our doors every week. We have 100 employees. We have over 1,000 leaders that are functioning in the church. And in the past, we've sent people away because if you're going to figure out leadership and what you don't know, you have to hear from people who do know it. And so we've invested in plane tickets and hotel rooms and situations where people could get resourced. Many years ago, I went to the Global Leadership Summit in Chicago that Bill Hybels hosts, and was so impressed by the fact that I was receiving from business leaders, from government leaders, from cultural leaders, as well as church leaders, and what was on offer in that two-day event, that we became a satellite site for the Global Leadership Summit. It's in August this year, 8th and 9th. We're one of 300 cities in 90 countries around the world. There'll be over 165,000 people in those two-day events. And we wanted just to bring a few-minute kind of introduction from the host, Bill Hybels, tell you a little bit about the speakers, and then I'll just say a few more things.
Okay.
Thanks.
Leadership is a craft, and gaining mastery over our leadership skills requires intentionality. No one drifts their way into becoming a better leader. We hone our leadership gifts by placing ourselves in intentional growth environments. If you want to be a better leader, you need to go where leadership is taught, and the payoff is huge. Let me introduce you to the lineup for this year's Global Leadership Summit. I remember the day when I got an email from my daughter Shauna, and she came across an author named Brene Brown. You know, she's done research in the field of shame and guilt and how do you lead by lifting people instead of shaming people. I think she's going to be one of the big surprise hits of the summit this year. I can't wait for her talk. Colin Powell is a reflective and thoughtful leader. He's an amazing person, and I called him in hopes that he would come back live. It was one of the quickest conversations I've had with a world-class leader. He said, "Bill, I'd love to. What are the dates?" When I saw the background of a particular individual, I learned that this individual had gone from being a virtually unknown minimum wage worker into one of the most successful Hollywood producers of our day. He's the producer of Survivor, The Voice, Shark Tank, and that the reason why he wanted to meet with me was because he wanted to take his money and his expertise and make the name of Christ better understood and appreciated worldwide. I thought, are you kidding me? Who does this? And the person I'm talking about is Mark Burnett. In my opinion, Andy Stanley is probably in the top 1% of effective pastors in the entire world. His wisdom comes straight from his gut. I mean, he lives it. He works in the church every day, every week, every month. We've had Andy at the summit in the past. Every single time he rings the bell. That's a look into the world-class leadership faculty that our team has put together. I had the opportunity to do the opening session. The full faculty includes Colin Powell, Andy Stanley, Mark Burnett, Oscar Murillo, Patrick Lencioni, Henry Cloud, Brene Brown, Vijay Govindarajan, Joseph Grenny, Bob Goff, Chris Brown, and Liz Wiseman. You're a leader. It's your job to keep your passion hot. Do whatever you have to do. Go wherever you have to go to stay fired up as a leader. See you at the summit.
The two things that I love about the Global Leadership Summit are, one, it combines kind of real equipping, real information, like high-value information that would help you develop skills to be a better leader with inspiration, with motivation, and the opportunity to have something that is really, truly world-class right here in our community. I'm really especially thrilled that the youth would be here today, because that challenge that's before us to provide leadership in the face of the future is huge. And so you have just a little information piece about the faculty. We've arranged that for the business community and our government leadership, that'd be a special prize, for that time. There's also a special prize for teachers and students who are in school, very reasonable, and we extend that invitation.
David, how do they take advantage of that? Is there a code that they have to?
Yes, there's actually, if you go to our website, which is desertvineyard.org/summit, then you'll go right to the information about the Leadership Summit. There is a special code. We're hoping to have those codes for both kind of students and teachers and business people on the city website. I believe that's going to happen, that there'll be information there. But you can get those codes from us at the Vineyard, or you can go onto the website and you can register in that way. Okay?
That's great. Can you tell us about your church and what it does? Can you tell us about the 2,500 meals that you provide?
Every week?
Every week?
Yeah.
Can you talk about the drug programs that you have there? Can you tell us about how you've come into the community and helped the entire city thrive?
I've been the pastor of the Desert Vineyard for 20 years now. The church is actually 35 years old this past summer. And it's basically a community of people who've been reaching for one central goal, and that is to follow Jesus' command to love God with all we are and love our neighbor as ourselves. In loving our neighbor, our community, which is here in the Antelope Valley, we are especially concerned about those with the least resources, the most vulnerable, the most hurting. And so every week we have programs that feed on Monday nights, on Sunday afternoon. On Saturday we take lunches out to where people are living rough, living in camps. We're just involved in trying to connect and resource people with at least some hope, if not, kind of complete change in their life. Though of the 6,000 or so who would call the Desert Vineyard their home, a third of those people, a couple of thousand people, come out of hardcore addiction background. We're talking about crystal meth, heroin, cocaine, and they're living lives free, and they're living lives that are meaningful and significant for others. So that's our passion. That's what we do. Week by week, we have, I think there's 85 different things that go on in our campus every week, from recovery groups of every kind to parenting and family kind of instruction and courses. So we're just trying to love our neighbor.
You also have a Helping Hands program that helps people in the community?
Yeah, we're on the east side here of Lancaster off Avenue I, and around us, particularly in the mobile home parks, there are people who can't keep their home in adequate repair, might need a wheelchair ramp or that kind of thing. And we've just tried to reach out to our neighbors with crews of guys and gals who can swing a hammer or move some trash, and just try to make it possible for them to live a little bit easier in their situation. So we do that week by week.
We thank you for what you do.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the time.
Okay, we have the Mayor's Project from the Youth Commission. Joshua, you want to come up and bring your students with you and introduce them for me?
Yes, sir.
You're going to the Army?
Yes, sir, I am.
And you gave Mr. Bozigan a hat?
Yes, sir. He's been one of my main mentors in this government process, so I thought I'd like to honor him.
He has to claim that now.
Yes, sir. Well worth it. It's an Army hat.
Where does your brother go to school?
My brother attends the United States Air Force Academy. Well, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you to the Vice Mayor and the council members for giving us this lovely opportunity to come and to present today. I'd like to introduce my commission team. We have Commissioner Elder, Commissioner Conrado over there currently working on technology, Commissioner Zhang, and I'd also like to introduce Dr. Bowers from the Lancaster School District, who's been a strong supporter of our project since the beginning. When we first were commissioned a couple months ago, the mayor issued us a challenge to come up with something that would help the fellow community. Excited to leave our mark in this community and encouraged by the support we got from the mayor, we got together to start brainstorming. All in all, we wanted to develop a project that would benefit the youth in our community. Confident in our preparations, we came up with the Lancaster Lunchbox. Here to expand on that and to give you the details, I present my main man, Alex Conrado.
Good evening.
Welcome.
There you go. The program I will be presenting to you tonight is something that I have created and founded based on my passion for volunteering. It is something that goes above and beyond the typical volunteer service, and what I believe will change this community forever. This community has assisted in my upbringing. It has influenced everything from my personality to my academic success. I feel as though this is a way to ensure that future generations will have the same motivation and ability to thrive in their environment. May I present to you the Lancaster Lunchbox. I would like to start off with some statistics. Recent data published by the California Department of Education has shown that the number of students on free and reduced lunch is on the rise and has increased 10% in this district alone in the past 2.5 years. That number now stands at 76.6% for the district and 80% for Sierra Elementary. That is 4 out of every 5 students who are on the socioeconomic program. The program overview. The objective of this program is to serve needy students through weekly care packages. The program assists students who struggle to find food in their homes over weekends and other breaks. These are periods in which they are not receiving their free and reduced lunches. This would be accomplished by distributing nutritious food bags. And the program before you is pledged to feed 40 students a year. The benefits. This program will better school attendance, improve school performance, increase self-esteem, and reduce signs of hunger. Each bag surpasses fighting hunger and improves other aspects of children's lives, including those around them. The operations. The operations are a simple 3-step process that require little to no time each week. First, volunteers will assemble packages at the school. Then the packages will then be distributed after school on Friday. This will then be repeated every week. The menu. The bag I have created provides students with well over 40 grams of protein a day and satisfies the sodium and calorie intake for a 2,000 calorie diet. It also promotes healthy eating, a skill students will carry into their adult lives. They surpass their standards and serve students with nutritious food throughout the day. The numbers. The average cost for one bag is $3. For a month, that is $12 per student, and for a school year, that is approximately $96. Each bag has been valued at a price that is affordable while providing the nutrition necessary. Funds will be gathered throughout the community and local businesses. The pilot program. The pilot program is to be put on by the Youth Commission, whom will be covering all funds and supplying the volunteers. We will be using funds gathered from several fundraising efforts, including Valentine's Day bags and our Poppy Festival booth. This is intended to gather feedback from parents, students, staff, and volunteers. The program will be active in the last week of May and the first week of June at Sierra Elementary. I would now like to introduce Amy Elder, our Commission's Vice Chair, to cover other aspects of the program.
Through our work with the Youth Commission, we've created many partnerships throughout the city's local businesses and organizations. Obviously, the Lancaster Youth Commission has been a great part in getting this program started, providing volunteers, fundraising efforts, and connections to other businesses and organizations in our city. The Lancaster School District is allowing us to host our pilot program at their school and is going to continue to allow us to host our project next year at Sierra Elementary. We hope that our program can spread throughout the entire district and help better the future. They will also be helping us to determine which students will be eligible for the program. Grace Resources will help to assist our program's success and help to determine the menu items. The University of Antelope Valley has donated bags for our pilot program, and we hope that they can continue to be a great partner in this program. We hope this project can spread through all the schools in the city, and that this Youth Commission can leave a legacy for future youth commissioners to be a part of. We think it's important that teenagers in our community can help kids become a great influence on our future.
This concludes our presentation. I would like to thank you for your time, and I would also like to thank the Mayor for challenging us and ultimately pushing us to better our community. We will now take any questions you may have.
Michelle, come on up.
Yes.
What's your feelings on this?
Oh, I am thrilled. Actually, thank you. I'm thrilled the Youth Commission came and did a presentation for one of our board meetings about a month ago. Our board members were extremely impressed. Our staff over at Sierra Elementary are very excited to be partnering with the Youth Commission and with the City of Lancaster on this project. And more importantly, our families need it. So we are truly blessed to have young people, and I'm so impressed with the fact that they could do this presentation off of their little phone here. I said, I want to learn how to do that when I grow up, so thank you. But we are excited about this project, not just for what it can do, the potential for the families at Sierra, but the potential that it holds for all of our families that need this type of support throughout the district. So we look forward to a long, productive partnership. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Lord.
We're now going to hear about the every 15-minute program from our Vice Chairman of the Criminal Justice Commission, Mr. Timothy Fuller.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate that. I'm Tim Fuller. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Criminal Justice Commission. If I'd have known that hats were appropriate, I would have brought in an Antelope Valley High School hat for Mr. Bozigian, because I know he'd wear it with pride.
Yay, I like that one. Whoa. That one's good.
He's from Paraclete. Yes.
I don't care what you do to the hat, but... No, but it's my pleasure to be here today and to be able to address this commission, or this body. On the Criminal Justice Commission, unfortunately, on a monthly basis, we hear about some of the worst things that are happening in the Antelope Valley and Lancaster, specifically crime rates and others. But we also have the honor of hearing from those people who are doing some pretty wonderful things to address those issues, bring crime rates down, and to really make Lancaster a better place to live in. And I'm pleased to say that the efforts have been very, very successful over the years, and we look forward to more success in the future. But it's really rare where you get the opportunity to hear of a program such as you're going to hear about this evening, where not only are you addressing crime, but you're saving lives, where you see these young people who come before us today and eloquently speak before the council and have such a promising future, but realize that so many lives are being cut short, really, in a way that's preventable. So you have a program that engages our young adults in helping to address some major problems that we have and that we face as a community, and reducing the incidence of death by 50%. And without giving that away, I'm going to bring up somebody who knows a whole lot more about the program, who also addressed the commission, and that's Officer Gil Hernandez from the CHP. So please welcome him.
Gil, before you get started, could you introduce our commander at the station right now?
Yes, I have Lieutenant Lund with me here today, and he'll be sharing some of the presentations, so I can't take all the work today.
Thank you.
So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. I want to talk to you a little bit about what the California Highway Patrol does. The California Highway Patrol is responsible for saving lives throughout the state of California. And part of that is through education, engineering, and what nobody likes is the enforcement aspect of it. That's when you see us out on the side of the road issuing these citations. One of the many programs that the California Highway Patrol sponsors, or actually is responsible for administering, is the Every 15-Minute program. The Every 15-Minute program, it's an anti-drug program or event that it's funded through the Office of Traffic Safety. This program is geared towards the high schools, juniors and seniors, and it's working in conjunction along with the fire department, the Sheriff's Department here locally, both the Palmdale and the Lancaster station, AMR, who is a private company, but yet they actually provide the ambulance services for free for these events, the coroner, the Superior Court, Judge Estes, and some of the local businesses that actually allowed or make this programs happen by sponsoring some of the supplies that is not covered by the event for these schools. Let me just tell you a little bit about the Every 15-Minute program. The Every 15-Minute program was started in 1995 by the Chico Police Department, and they had their first program in 1996. In the 1980s, early 1980s, there was somebody that was getting killed as a result of a DUI every 15 minutes. So in 1995, being the Chico Police Department, along with ABC, they decided to get a program going to counterattack this issue that we still have today. Since 1995 to present, this statistic has gone down to every 30 minutes, but yet it's still also an unacceptable number. One life is way too many, especially when it's preventable. I'm just going to give you a little bit of what the program consists of. It's a 2-day event. On the first day, let me backtrack a little bit. In order to have this event happen, the schools, they select a committee. Usually they're going to be their ASB department, where they're the ones that are going to make this happen. They are empowered with this program. The only thing that I do is to facilitate or to help facilitate the resources for them. But they're the ones that are responsible. So when I heard earlier today about leadership, with this program, we're not only saving lives by bringing awareness, but we're also making leaders and identifying those leaders early on. And they are burdened with this responsibility because they are made aware that they are responsible for it. It takes months of planning, meeting after meeting, long days. But the day of, the first day of the event, it starts with a car crash, a head-on car crash, broadside, whatever they decide to do, we just make sure that it's safe for them to do it. And you'll be surprised what they come up with. Along with the DUI, we also address the distracted driving, reckless driving, because that's also an issue. Okay, so the day of, the car crash comes, all the schools, juniors and seniors, they come out to see this event actually developing. To the sirens, lights, fire department, sheriff's department, and hearing all the commotion that's going on. And I've been told by some of these students that when they hear the sirens and all the chaos that's going on, that they kind of separate themselves from the fake to now being reality. So the program is very effective. After the program, the suspect of DUI goes to jail and is booked at the jail. So they go through the whole booking process. The rest of the school goes back to class. The injured go to the hospital, and the dead go with the coroner. And as we call it, the van comes out, and they actually handle these bodies like dead bodies, and they throw them in the back of the coroner's van. So reality to them kicks in. That night, the injured, all the walking dead, and the dead, they go to a retreat, okay, to stay away from their families, to let that sink in. That night, they have to write a letter to their parents, pretty much telling them, if they had one last chance to tell their parents or their loved one how they really felt, this is the time for them to express themselves. That's the day one. This day, again, it goes by really fast, but it takes months of planning. With that note, I would like to take this opportunity to show you the video for Lancaster High School, one of the three that actually had this program this year.
911 emergency, what are you reporting?
Oh my God. Please, please. I think my sons are involved. There's an accident in the high school. It's horrible.
What city is that in, ma'am?
Ma'am, it's in Lancaster. It's Lancaster High School. It's
on 32nd Street West?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Please. I think my sons are involved. There's two cars. And I think one of them's dead and one of them, I feel my sons. I think one of them's in the windshield.
Okay, what did you have the call? We have 5 minutes. Okay.
Thank you. When the cars hit, there's alcohol bottles all over the road. They went flying, so I think somebody had been drinking. You need to get somebody out here right away.
Am I really going to jail?
Yeah, Josh, you are. It was a pretty serious accident back there.
Are my friends okay, though, or?
Well, I got an update before I left, and the young lady that was in your car, what was her name?
Nicole.
Nicole? She had some pretty serious injuries, and she died on scene. And there was a gentleman in one of the other cars that also passed away, so it's a double fatality as of right now. All right, so just go here. This one. Nothing. You have anything on you that I need to know about that's illegal? Can't take any type of drugs or anything into the facility. If you tell me now, you won't be charged. But if you don't tell me and I find it, you will be charged with bringing in controlled substances or illegal items into the jail. Do you understand? Okay. All right.
Hey, you've been hit by a drunk driver, okay? We're gonna take you out to the hospital, okay? Do you remember what happened? No?
I'm with you.
She was not wearing a seatbelt. Okay, we have a doctor.
We are giving her a lot of blood. We're doing chest compressions to help her pump her heart. But it's already been about 20 minutes now. And it seems like we should everything we could do at this point. And
What are you saying?
that she might not make it.
Hello, ma'am. Are you Giovanni Murray's relative? Are you his mother? What's your name? Yesenia. Can you confirm Giovanni's birthday for me?
1995.
Okay. I have some news to tell you. Are you here by yourself? Do you mind if I come in and we sit down? Okay. Giovanni was involved in a crash in front of Lancaster High School this morning. Unfortunately, he did not survive. He succumbed to his injuries at the scene.
It's not possible. I just spoke to him this morning.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the information, that's why I asked you, for his birthday, so that the information is correct. I'm looking for the parents of Joseph Malden.
That's me.
That's you?
Mother.
You're his mother? What's your name?
Talitha.
Malden? Ms. Malden, Joseph was involved in a very bad accident in front of Lancaster High School. At this time, he's been transported to Antelope Valley Hospital.
Court calls the case of People, State of California versus Josh Shaver, MA 054401. Mr. Shaver is present with counsel. People are represented. The investigating officer is also here. The matter is on calendar today for sentencing. Waive arraignment for sentencing.
Yes.
The evidence, the verdicts, including guilty verdicts as to counts 1, 2, and 3, all felony violations of Penal Code Section 187, second-degree murder. Count 1, named victim Adriana Nicole Villalobos. Count 2, Giovanni Moore. Count 3, Kayleen Gully. And Count 4, felony violation of Penal Code Section 23153A, wherein the jury also returned a true verdict or true finding as to the special allegation within the meaning of Penal Code Section 12022.7.
My name is Talitha Malden, and I'm the mother of Joseph Malden, Jr., who was left paralyzed due to the defendant's actions.
I'll never talk to him or touch him or hear his wonderful laughter or silly jokes ever again.
This is my little boy, the one we brought from the hospital, the one that we have seen grow, someone that has focused on his education, someone that has focused on his future, and it has all changed.
I know that there's no amount of punishment that will give my son the ability to walk again, but I just wanted you and the defendant to know what he took away.
I want him to know his actions killed my son and others. He did it, his decisions. I want him to memorize Giovanni's birthday, April 19th, every year, and know that there's a family and there are friends grieving the emptiness of Giovanni's absence. I want him to know that Giovanni's twin sister will never have a happy birthday because her brother's not by her side.
The court will impose sentence as follows. The choice is made by this defendant to drive with a blood alcohol of 0.10%. The selfish choice of this defendant that directly caused the loss of human life. The court will run each life sentence consecutive to each other. Therefore, the defendant will serve his 8-year determinate sentence and begin his indeterminate 45 years to life sentence in the California State Prison. Despite the fact that you're still in high school, you are an adult, Mr. Shaver. You were prosecuted as an adult under California law. You've been convicted as an adult under California law, and now you've been sentenced as an adult under California law. Please remand this defendant to the custody of the Sheriff's Department for delivery to the Department of Corrections.
I mean, I felt okay. I thought it was just a couple of drinks and that was all. And I mean, I felt nothing. I felt totally fine and normal. I felt like I was okay to drive. I mean, just knowing that I killed my friends is just a horrible feeling altogether. And knowing that they're not going to be there anymore really hurts. And knowing that it's my fault that they're not here. And I don't think I'll be able to live with myself, and I will never forgive myself for that.
911 emergency, what are you reporting?
Oh, there's been a really bad accident in front of the high school. I'm over here at Lancaster High School, and I need you to get here fast.
Lancaster High School?
Yes, on 32nd Street West. This is Mrs. Rosales. I'm a teacher here, and there's two cars. It looks like it's been a head-on collision, and I think they're my students involved. Please hurry up.
Ms. Rosales, thank you for calling. We'll get fire and paramedics on the way.
Thank you.
As you can see, that qualifies for reality TV, actually. The video is well done. And if you let your emotions get into it and believe that, you can become emotional yourself just watching that video. As Officer Hernandez mentioned earlier, as you saw in the video, that requires participation among numerous agencies. And Officer Hernandez mentioned the list, but since you're here, thanks again to County Fire and Lancaster Sheriff, especially for participation in that video there. Day 2, the assembly. The seniors and juniors who were outside watching the first responders' efforts during that staged collision, they now watch the video. Obviously, they couldn't continue on with the in custody nor the injured to the hospital or those deceased to the coroner's office. So they get to see this video here. Earlier, Officer Hernandez mentioned The Walking Dead. One of the things that happens on day 1 is to be representative of the every 15 minutes, somebody, and it's already pre-planned as well, somebody's pulled from class every 15 minutes. And they're made up as if like ghoulish makeup. They have a black shirt every 15 minutes. They're not allowed to talk to these students. They go back to class, though. Those do. And they're not allowed to talk with students the rest of the day, nor is anyone allowed to talk with them. But they do go back to class. So those students, as well as these students, they write final statements to the parents and can be very emotional on day 2. After this video is shown, selected students are asked to read what they wrote. A couple things they noted. One student wrote to his brother, his younger brother, and he apologized to him that he failed him. He really put a lot of thought into that. And another student, I guess maybe there was a little bit of estrangement between him and his mom, and he wrote to his mom, and he apologized for that. And it actually sounded like a relationship that was going to be heading in the direction of reparation. We have what I call the secret weapon. The arresting officer, you notice the female officer up there, her name is Rebecca Thomas. She actually attends day 2 also, and she gives a little PowerPoint presentation. And she discusses a collision that happened out of state, and it actually happened, I think it was at Washington State. And actually one of the victims of that DUI collision grew up here in Lancaster. And it turns out it was a crash of 4 people, single vehicle, solo vehicle, DUI, spun out, went off the road, car caught on fire. And Officer Thomas takes the students through a choices PowerPoint presentation, what choices you're going to make while you're out there. And near the end of it, she drops the bomb, and why this is important to her. Because her son was one of those students, was one of those kids in that car, a 19-year-old passenger in that vehicle. They were able to pull the driver out, which is typical. The other 3, we were able to get out of the car in time, and the car burned with them, with the kids in there. And when Rebecca Thomas leaks out that information that her son was there, you can hear gasps throughout the auditorium. And kids are emoting. And in addition to that, like I said earlier about the writings that other students give, there's a lot of emotion. And the reason I point that out is it shows you how powerful and impacting that is. And I believe it's going to leave a lasting impression each time we do one. And of course, that's what's going to make it stick. Right? Something that's going to be, forgive the term, shocking to the conscience. I believe it's almost there. Students are going to remember this as well as something that would be even more shocking. So I think it's a very successful program. And just to wrap it up real quick, I think Gil had a couple more comments to talk about that final day on day 2.
Well, I think he pretty much covered day 2, but as we're all aware, inexperienced and underage drinking, it's a deadly combination. And this day and age, we have that, and it's out there. And to counterattack that, obviously, the Highway Patrol developed the every 15-minute program came into play. The California Highway Patrol took over this program in 2000. Since then, there's been over 1,200 programs that have been implemented at local schools throughout the state of California. In 2010 and 2011, it was 159 programs throughout the state. This year, we did 3 here at the Antelope Valley. Lancaster High School, Little Rock High School, and Vasquez High School. They all had outstanding programs. And I think we did touch a lot of lives and saved a lot of lives. The kicker to this is that this program is free. And I would definitely like to see every high school participate in this program because all it takes is time. And if the schools take that time to empower these students, because they're the ones that are going to be running the program, we can actually see even a bigger drop than that 50%. Because the program it's impactful, and I can assure you that we touched a lot of lives and we saved a lot of lives this year by these 3 schools allowing us to bring this program to their high schools. What does that mean to you, the city of Lancaster? Okay, what it means is that you're going to have safer roads out here in the city, because even if they live in the outskirts, Little Rock, Acton, or here in the city of Lancaster, they will be traveling through these roads. And education and awareness is going to bring that safety. And as I tell parents, we don't want this type of business. We don't want to be the ones scraping their kids off the roadway. And this goes for all fire emergency personnel. That's the business we don't want. We can be really busy with education and making it safer roads. So that is my the motto that I actually pitch at the schools. This is the business that the California Highway Patrol doesn't want. And by working together, we can continue to attack this deadly disease, because in 2010, there was over 2,700 teens that were killed in DUI, or killed across the U.S. 22% out of that 2,700 were DUI. That was almost 600 lives. And with that, I'll open it for questions.
It's my understanding that you rotate this throughout the school districts in each school?
That is correct, yes.
So where does it go next?
We've done the presentation to Dr. Vera at the upper management level, and my understanding is that each principal at each high school needs to pretty much reach out and grab it. Take that initiative and call me at the office and say, Gil, we want to do this program. My goal, there's 8 high schools here, along with the 2 private high schools in Vasquez here that we service. My goal is to do at least 4 to 5 high schools a year, incorporating those private schools, because that issue is also there. And we have the resources. And the problem with this is that if we don't use this money, the money will be allocated somewhere else. Just this year alone, we ran out of funds, because we're making it easier for the schools to actually apply for this grant. It was every 2 years in the past. Now the Office of Traffic Safety has made it available every year. So when they did that, they ran out of funds. But if the demand is there, I'm sure they can come up with some more money to facilitate this program.
You do a great job.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
No, I just want to applaud everyone how you say, coming together and educating our children and having them. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I needed to dry my eyes, but really getting emotionally attached to what's going on, and it's a reality check. And you guys have done a tremendous job, and we thank you for doing that. And you have, and you will continue to save lives by doing this, and we applaud you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to follow up with that with an update on Cinco de Mayo from Sue Dell. Welcome, Sue.
Hola, Sue.
Hola. Buenos días.
¿Cómo estás?
Wow, that's a touching act to follow. Thank you for having me, Vice Mayor Christ and City Council. I'm Sue Dell, your Tapestry Commission Chair, with a little update on Cinco de Mayo. Hope you don't mind if I read my coffee-stained paper here. At the suggestion of Miguel Coronado, one of our newer commissioners, the City of Lancaster had its first Cinco de Mayo celebration, and knowing the limited city resources that we have, we elected to piggyback on the farmers market, and we did that on Thursday, the 2nd of May, because that's an already established event that has a track record of commerce, celebration, and entertainment. The Boulevard Association also got involved by encouraging the Boulevard stores to incorporate a Cinco de Mayo theme, and the farmers market vendors were given an opportunity to highlight food of cultural interest. My personal favorite was the free tasters of guacamole. I wanted to park there. It was delicious. The avocado vendor, I'm sure, sold out. There's an organization in town, the Agents of Change, which is a local high school organization that has done a lot of work for the city in the last, say, semester, and with Tapestry. They staffed a child art area with culturally appropriate coloring pages and foam art projects, and Tapestry had a booth with Mexican heritage recipes using the fruits and vegetables from the vendors and giving out the history of Cinco de Mayo. Thank you to our staff analyst, Brenda Gamlowski, who's instrumental in pulling that together. But the most outstanding thing about the day was the almost 5 hours of free entertainment that was organized by Samuel Roman and his associate Salvador Villanueva. Mr. Roman is the director of a local scholarship organization, the Tavera Foundation, and his entertainers, for free, sang, danced, and played their instruments for us for hours. It was wonderful. Councilwoman Sandra Johnson welcomed the audience with Spanish words of wisdom from her mother. And Assemblyman Steve Fox's office surprised the Tapestry Commissioners with certificates for our contributions to the community, which I don't even know why we were being thanked, because we are so grateful to be given this opportunity. And as if that weren't enough, on Saturday, May 4th, Tapestry Commissioners joined the fun at the Cinco de Mayo Parade in Lake Los Angeles. Lou Gonzalez of Gonzalez Chevrolet was persuaded by our very newest Commissioner, Ed Galindo, to lend us a convertible for the parade, and Miss Brenda Gamlowski was forced to tool around in it for almost 24 hours. It was so sad. She loved it. Lancaster's population is approximately 35% Latino, and I'm told by those who attended and those in the community that this recognition of the holiday was quite significant to them. It was fun, fairly easy as large events go, and it contributed to a feeling of unity and celebration in our city. In fact, one parent came up to me and with a heavy accent said to me, with her 2 little children, they appeared to be about 4 and 6, "Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much." It really seemed to touch her. So the Tapestry Commission is grateful to our city and our city council for making these events possible. Our mission is broad, but despite our diverse backgrounds, our community is unified, thanks to you allowing us to do the effort. Thanks.
Thank you for what you do.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Sue. If I may, Sue, it was a wonderful event. Thank you for honoring us to be able to be there. I know our city manager and our deputy city manager, Mark and Jason, we had the opportunity to sit there and watch the performance. Amazing, amazing at what they did. And the fact that they did that on such a hot day and they did it with a smile just made it even more rewarding. It was a wonderful day, a rewarding day, and it was beautiful to see so many cultures there. And to see everyone unite and come together and really want to be a part of that was very rewarding. And I agree with you, the guacamole was amazing. So thank you. Great job. Thank you very much.
City Manager, any items to be removed?
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor. we would like to pull CC4 and put it on the May 28th agenda, and we'd also like to continue NB4 to the May 28th agenda. We apologize to you and the public for any inconvenience this may cause.
I do have a speaker card for NB4. I'm going to allow him to speak. We don't have any speaker cards for the Housing Authority minutes. Do we have a motion and a second for adoption of the Housing Authority regular minutes?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We're going to hear from Jason Cottle on HA and B1.
Authority Member Chris, Authority members, thank you for the opportunity. Today before you is an agreement and a lease agreement for a property that we've been working on for a number of months with U.S. Topco. This isn't a new property, this isn't a different project, but more it is a cleaning up the ownership and the lease as it relates to the dissolution of redevelopment. As you know, the state, by the time the project began to the time the project is nearing completion, the state has dissolved redevelopment, which required the city to identify two types of properties, one being housing assets, the other being assets of the Successor agency. The property we've been working on is identified as a housing asset and subsequently approved on the housing asset transfer list to be used as a housing asset. The project lease before you today is a lease between the Housing Authority and U.S. Topco to develop the exactly similar and same project with the exactly similar lease arrangements as well as revenue. The one minor change is that revenue is now a revenue of the Housing Authority to be used for housing purposes as it relates to because it was a Housing Authority property. So everything that we had been talking about over the number of months as it relates to the construction of the project, development of the project, and timeline of the project remains intact, but rather the change is a relationship between the Housing Authority and U.S. Topco now.
So what we're talking about is we're just talking which body approves it.
Correct.
Okay. Michael Reeves.
Vice Chair, Housing Authority members, we discussed this before a long time ago, and I opposed it then and I oppose it now, just like I opposed the power plant in Palmdale. I'm not keen on having energy plants in the middle of populated areas. And since the last time we talked about this, June 2011, I assume that there was an EIR report, Environmental Impact Report. And as you well know, in the news media, there was some problems with some of the workers at some of these solar facilities. They're contracting diseases. So I'm requesting that the council postpone action on this and get another environmental report that investigates this fever that some of these workers are getting who are working on these solar projects. I do not want a facility in the middle of our city that is going to result in people becoming ill when they construct it. So I'm asking the council to please postpone it and have another EIR report done and assure the citizens that we're not going to have some kind of disease or illness spreading across the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Comments? Motion and a second?
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second. Let's vote. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Okay. Katie, we have a motion and a second adoption of the City Council minutes.
So moved.
I'll second that.
We have motion and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have a consent calendar. We have no speaker cards on the consent calendar. Motion and second.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar with item CC4 being removed.
I second.
Okay, let's vote. Motion passes 3-0. PH1. Elizabeth? We don't have any speaker cards? Want to waive the?
Do we have any speaker cards?
We do not.
Okay. I'd waive it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve PH1.
And I'll second.
Let's vote. Motion passes 3-0. PH2. Mr. Ludicky.
Vice Mayor Christ and members of the City Council, the item that is before you for consideration is a general plan amendment and zone change for the property located at the northwest corner of 60th Street West and Avenue J. And the requests are first to redesignate the site from light industrial to urban residential and to rezone it from light industrial to R7000. The approval of the general plan amendment and zone change, which was recommended to the Council by the Planning Commission at its regular meeting of April 15th, would allow for the approval of a residential development to become effective that the Commission also reviewed at that time. The reason that both staff and the Planning Commission are recommending this action to you, as well as a related action later on the agenda under new business item 2, is that it will allow for the timely completion of an important drainage facility in this area of the city. And on the screen, you see an aerial of the site area that was taken back in 2012. And I want you to notice particularly this unfinished residential development that is to the west of this site.
Is that the one that's underwater?
Yes, and actually if you go back to 2008, there is the situation that we are trying to deal with. And you can see this brown area is essentially what has inundated this unfinished tract. This drainage facility, in order to properly be completed, needs to run from its current ending spot on the west side of the site, across the south side of the site, under 60th Street West, and connect to the drainage facility that is on the perimeter of the prison site. Now, if you go back to the 2012 aerial, the city has done an interim solution to deal with this situation, and that is essentially this channel that you see that has been cut across kind of the northwestern area, or the northern side of the site. And that's okay as an interim solution, but it will not create a permanent solution for this. Furthermore, it's not going to deal with a very large storm should we get it. And it's not simply this area that we're concerned about at inundation. There is a very, very real possibility that this begins to back up into this area south of Avenue J. So what's being recommended to you, both with this action and the new business 2 item, is to allow for the owners of this property to develop a residential project that would also result in the completion of what we think is a very important part of the flood control system in this area. And it would allow this drainage improvement to be done in a timely manner. The light industrial designation and zone were actually placed here as part of the citywide general plan and rezoning in 2009 and 2010. And the real effort here, or the intent, was to try to create this sort of buffer area around the state prison site. The difficulty with that land use designation right now, however, is that it effectively precludes and discourages the development of this property, partly because the owners of this property aren't industrial developers, they're residential developers. At the time they acquired the property, that was the designation on the site. But even if they were to try to sell it to someone who developed industrial property, it's not exactly the best site for industrial development located where it is, as compared with other sites that are more in the center of the city. Now, it really wouldn't matter, you know, from our standpoint as a staff, if this completion of this drainage facility wasn't so important. but we feel that it is important and it's something that we need to get completed. So we believe that of all the options that are available to complete this very important and, I might add, expensive drainage improvement, we think that having the private sector development community complete it in conjunction with the development on the site is actually the best one. It would allow for the work to be completed more quickly, and it would be done without a significant upfront expense for the city. Robert Neal, the city's Public Works Director, is available if you have specific questions regarding what those improvements would be or the costs, and he will also provide some additional information to you as part of his presentation for the agreement that's under new business item number 2. In order to allow for this project to be able to go forward, the Council does need to approve General Plan Amendment 1103 and the introduction of Zone Change 1103 as recommended to you by the Planning Commission. We as a staff carry forward that recommendation to you and would ask that you please give your positive consideration to that action. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
If we do nothing, we have a desert site with a ditch running through it.
Yes.
Okay.
It would remain as is.
Any questions?
No, you were saying, Mr. Neal, you have some information also that maybe we could have shared.
I consider this project more of a cooperative effort between the city and a couple land owners in order to mitigate what is a public nuisance that's created by the stormwater. Our shop's gotten, at the time, a lot of calls about water that basically is 5 or 6 foot deep. We had a lot of graffiti behind there. The time we were dealing with this track, Matthew Holmes, the original developer, had failed. We were not having a lot of cooperation, and the problem is just difficult because of the amount of water that goes in the area. What we see in our community is a lot of development when it occurs in the southwestern part of our city, and that drains into this particular drainage watershed, and as things, as our economy comes out of our recession, I expect a lot more development to occur in that southwestern part of our city. We had flooding in that tract to the south to some degree. We've had crews out there that had kind of redirected that and so we have a problem area over there, and you know, maybe getting a little bit more into that next the agreements, but basically we struck what we think is a fair agreement. That corner parcel, the drainage, the master plan drainage facility there is over 200 foot wide. It's 210 foot wide. It takes about 30% of that parcel, and because it's a corner parcel, it also has public improvements around it. So it's just a difficult piece to work, and in order to make this work so that we can get it done, it really required cooperation from a couple different landowners, and I would recommend approval of this zone change.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Neal.
Michael Reeves. We're going to get you a seat up here.
Thanks. I've been trying to get up here. Vice Mayor, council staff, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is a smoking gun. This is a smoking gun. You worried about where to put Walmart? You have a place to put Walmart. Instead of putting Walmart at 60th L, you can put Walmart at 60th and J. Industrial, we're changing industrial to residential. Down at 60 and L,
Michael, I have a question for you real quick. We don't put Walmart anywhere. It's the people that own the property.
Well, you know...
We can't tell them, you know, you need to build a Walmart here. It's
Well,
those
I mean,
people that own the property develop it. So that's not on us.
Well, it's not on you, but the point I'm trying to make is the controversy that we had on Walmart. At Walmart, we were going to change an urban residential area into an industrial area. This area we're going to change from industrial to urban. Now, if we had done it in reverse, we could have built houses across from the high school, and there wouldn't have been all the screaming and yelling, and we could have put Walmart by the prison, and then if they shoplift, you could just take them across the street.
Very well thought through.
Yeah, he's got a point there.
Seriously, though, I was looking at the attachment to this, from what it appears to me is that they're going to build some pretty big houses there. And I was looking at the regulation requirement and proposal. They're reducing the dwelling units per acre, and they're reducing the backyards on these things from 15 feet to 12 feet, and the building coverage is going to go from 50% to 55%. So you're going to put up some pretty big houses maybe next to a prison, and I don't know how many people want to buy a house by a prison. So I just wanted to bring those points up. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Okay. We need, City Attorney, we need 2 motions?
Yes.
Okay. Let's take the first one first. I need a motion and a second.
Okay, I'll make a recommendation that we adopt resolution number, is that 13-12, if we take that in order,
I second.
amending the general plan.
Okay, let's vote. Motion passes 3-0.
And I motion that we introduce ordinance number 991.
I'll second that.
Let's vote. Motion passes 3-0. NB1. Nope. Where are we at?
NB1, right?
NB1?
Yep.
Okay, we do have a speaker card.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Mayor Christ, and City Council members. Okay, we're starting out really
Try that again.
Now we're ready for what the company's called. I Am What I Am, LP, is requesting that the city approve the issuance of tax-exempt revenue bonds to be utilized to finance the Cedar Ridge project, an existing 110 multifamily apartment complex located at 2105 East Avenue J8 in the city of Lancaster. The bonds will be tax-exempt private activity bonds for the purposes of the Internal Revenue Code, and as such, require the approval of the elected body of the governmental entity having jurisdiction over the area where the project is to be financed. The city will not be under any obligation to repay the bond indebtedness.
Can you say that again?
The city will not be under any obligation to repay the bond indebtedness.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The property owner plans to create an outdoor community space with a playground and artificial turf play lawn, upgrade the building envelope by installing new thermal foam roofs and retrofitted vinyl windows, and replace all the heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems with new equipment. 35% of the units will be designated for First 5 LA program participants, which are families with children up to 5 years of age who have some contact with the Department of Children and Family Services and are at risk of homelessness. The property owner is partnering with a nonprofit to provide supportive and social services for these families while enrolled in the program. The success of this project is very important to the interests of the city, as the subject property provides support services on site for the families in need. Staff is recommending the adoption of resolution number 13-13, approving the issuance of multifamily housing revenue bonds not to exceed $8 million and approving the form, execution, and delivery of a master pledge and assignment agreement, master agency agreement, regulatory agreement, and administrative agreement needed in connection with the issuance of the bonds, and authorizing the execution and delivery of such other documents deemed necessary to effect the purposes related thereto. Any questions? Thank you.
Michael.
Vice Mayor, Council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. While the city may not be responsible for repaying the bonds, but we're giving money away to people by giving them tax-exempt private activity bonds. So I take that they are tax-free, that the people do not have to pay tax on it. So the city of Lancaster, even though we're not involved in repaying it, we're giving people the power to issue bonds for they cannot pay taxes. And another thing, in the attachment on section 6 and 7, we have, and also 4 and 5, we have all this, these sections about authorization to issue and sell the bonds, special limited obligations, conditions. The city is now going from solar energy to bond business. And I don't think we should get involved in this. It's a great idea, but I don't like the idea of the city getting involved in bond business. And if something happens with these bonds, does it affect our credit rating? That's the question that needs to be answered. Thank you very much.
The city attorney was over there squirming.
Yeah.
I think she wants to say something.
Maybe Allison can clarify the...
Squirming, huh? The tax-exempt bonds means that the investors will not be taxed on the disbursements from the bonds. It doesn't change the status of the entity, whatever it may be, with the Department of Internal Revenue Service.
Thank you.
Right.
Any questions?
No. Great mechanism. So I'm sure that it helps us meet our quota, too, in regards to housing by the state of California. I'm sure if we looked into that, it helps the city's requirements. Sometimes some of us don't understand that there's a greater umbrella that has oversight on the city's housing.
You want to explain that, Ken? How that works?
Yeah, the state of California actually mandates, and Mr. Ludicky could probably give us a closer update. My time frame that I don't recall, but on a regular basis, each city is required to take a look at its housing stock, and there's a certain percentage that has to be set aside to meet low-income needs. And so when we fall out of tune and not do that, in this case maybe issuing or allowing the issuance of bonds, then potentially the percentage could possibly drop, and then we would be at risk with the state of California. And then there's some negative ramifications in regards to other funding. So maybe Brian can better explain that. I kind of muddled through that. It's been a couple of years sitting on the Planning Commission.
Yes, you're basically correct. One of the things that the city is required to look at in its housing element is there housing that's at risk of, housing stock at risk of being lost, and what are city actions to try to shore that up. This obviously, is for rehabilitation and improvements on those, and that would certainly be something that would be favorable in terms of the city's actions when looking at its housing accomplishments.
Right, and for the record, this is just normal on. If we went, I'm sure, and correct me if I'm if I'm misspeaking, but my understanding is this is pretty regular through all cities in California.
Yes, that's a typical requirement of all jurisdictions in the state.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ken. Okay, I need a motion and a second.
I motion we adopt resolution number 13-13.
I'll second that motion.
Let's vote. NB1 passes 3-0. NB2. This is a carbon copy of the other one.
Very similar. This is just to talk about the agreements.
Okay, we have no speaker cards.
No, I think this is just I think it's already been explained with agreements worked out in regards to the property.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Motion and second.
I'll make a motion to approve the improvement agreement with 99 Serenade Lancaster LLC.
I'll second.
Let's vote. NB2 passes 3-0. NB3, Elizabeth?
Good evening, Vice Mayor Christ and City Council members. All municipalities receiving CDBG funding are required to maintain fair housing programs in order to affirmatively further fair housing pursuant to the Code of Federal Regulations as outlined in 570.601. In compliance with Federal Regulations Title 24, HUD requires that the City of Lancaster enter into a written agreement in order for the city to grant its entitlement funds to the subrecipient for providing fair housing services. $28,204 is to be allocated from the 2013 CDBG entitlement funds to pay for this service. The city's existing subrecipient agreement with the Housing Rights Center stipulates under Section 9 that the agreement can be renewed on an annual basis by mutual written consent of both parties. As a result, a letter was received from the Executive Director of the Housing Rights Center stating their desire to continue to provide fair housing services to the City of Lancaster. In the past, the City of Lancaster has done several requests for qualifications for an organization to maintain fair housing programs and Housing Rights Center. And Housing Rights Center has been the most qualified organization to respond to the RFQ. The Housing Rights Center has been performing the service successfully for the City of Lancaster for over 25 years. Please approve the subrecipient agreement between the City of Lancaster and the Housing Rights Center to provide fair housing services to the residents of Lancaster for the 2013 Community Development Block Grant Program year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion and a second.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the subrecipient agreement between the City of Lancaster and the Housing Rights Center.
And I will second.
Let's vote. NB3 passes 3-0. NB4, Michael. I understand we pulled it, but you wanted to speak.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak, Vice Mayor. We're talking about the idea of establishing a property-based improvement district, PBID, in the downtown area. And I have objections to it because it says that the property owners signed a petition to be able to have this done. I'd like to know if all the property owners and all the businesses signed the petition, or whether just a few. Because the reason I'm concerned about it is these people are going to be taxed for it. And we've already used redevelopment funds to redevelopment downtown. Now we're going to tax small businesses, and we also have a right to increase the assessments 3% each year. I don't know anybody that can pay more taxes right now, particularly businesses. So, for example, if it's a commercial lot rate, it goes up from 8 cents to 16 cents. Everything doubles. So before we approve something like this, I think we ought to consider using a private source like our Chamber of Commerce. Our Chamber of Commerce has had to lay off the Director of the Commerce and some employees because of financial difficulties. Why don't we use our Chamber to promote downtown, support them before we start assessing people for improvements? If capital improvements need to be conducted on the boulevard or around, they can be used from the general fund. It's not necessary to tax people some more. And if you notice the area, it's going to be like the downtown area. So these people that are in the downtown area are going to be penalized. What if you're outside that area and you reap the benefits of this assessment? The people in the area are paying for your success. No, I don't believe at this time we should do that and add any more tax burden to the businesses in the city. Thank you.
Mr. Bozian, would you like to clarify that?
Yeah, I'd like to maybe clarify a couple of points. The action that will be before you now on the 28th is simply the petitions more than 50% that would allow the business owners to vote. They would then have the opportunity to vote on that assessment, not a tax, I would call it an assessment, and present to the council on July 23rd. The money would be totally controlled by the businesses themselves. They would choose to do it collectively and collaboratively to promote the downtown. There is an organization that works very, very well downtown. It's the Boulevard Association, and they are leading this up. And it's a very democratic process, and it's a process that the business owners get to decide, do they want to put more in, to do collective promotions, which is better in some of their mind than individually. I also like to thank Kelvin and Shannon, who have done an amazing job really doing outreach with the businesses. So I think when you get the staff report on May 28th, some of those things will be further clarified.
Yeah, and for the record, Mr. Bozigian, historically, have we not had a very similar type of tool in the downtown area that was used for somewhat similar activities?
That's an excellent point. For the last, I don't know how many years, 15, 20, Vern? Since 1989, longer than that, the downtown businesses have done exactly that. This would just be a higher amount so that they could do more promotion, more events, more marketing. Just
a greater extension of what has been done historically down there. And I can definitely recall living here almost, my entire life. That's a short time compared to Marvin, but
this one will also have a 5-year sunset, meaning that after 5 years, the businesses will get to say, was it worth it? Should we do it again?
Right. Yeah, because I can remember historically, that's the reason why they got together. They felt there was a necessity for them to be viable in regards to other either retail centers in the city. So,
didn't you help build AV High School?
No. Oh, Marvin's being rough tonight.
CR1, Michael.
I already spoke with Councilman Mann about this. He's our representative on the 14th District Sanitation District. And as you know, everybody knows that lives in a house, your taxes have been increased tremendously by the Sanitation District. I know personally I got a message from my mortgage lender today that my escrow is going to go up over $100 thanks to 14th District Sanitation District. I want to know if it's what the 14th District is going to do now that they're negotiating the bonds. Are we going to have our sanitation rates reduced? Thank you.
I'll let Mr. Mann answer that, but I do have to say, prior to Mr. Mann being there, for years and years and years, the ball was kicked down the road. There was no work being done on it. There was nothing being done on this. So I agree with what you're basically saying, but since he's become our representative on the district, things have changed. And I do believe you are the chair.
Right. Historically, that was not a position that the city of Lancaster held. I'm not quite for sure why not, but so I'm now the chair, and I think I've gone on record at least twice, because we're in the position of getting ready to remortgage the bonds that were used to help build the facility, and I've already put staff on notice that once we get the backfill of the reserves, that I said I had every intent to have an analysis done, and if we're in that position, we'll do two things. If there's money left over, we'll give that back to the public, and we'll stop any kind of future increases in regards to the sanitation district. So I think I've already said that at least twice in my meetings.
Does that help you, Michael?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. No action on the Lancaster Finance Authority, no action on the Power Authority, no action on the Successor Agency. City Manager.
I have three announcements. First, I'd like to take the liberty of having Kelvin Tainatongo talk about the job fair that was held today for B of A employees, and acknowledge the University of Antelope Valley for generously offering the facility to host the job fair.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor and members of the City Council. As you are aware, a little over a month ago, Bank of America announced that they were going to be going through a series of layoffs. About that same time, shortly thereafter, they contacted the city to see how we could help those employees affected transition into other meaningful work. And so within a 3-week period, we pulled together our resources with our amazing sponsors, and today offered the employees of Bank of America to come out to a job fair and some workshops to help them in that transition. And our partnership with the University of Antelope Valley, the Antelope Valley College, and the Small Business Development Center, we were able to pull that off within 3 weeks, which we've heard was an incredible feat to do. But we did have just under 500 employees show up today, and we offered 3 different workshops for them to attend. Bank of America was certainly appreciative of the effort by all the players and stakeholders, and we will continue to work with them through this process.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're not only a great councilwoman, but you're a great partner in the city. And, for allowing us to have the job fair there, I was there. There was a lot of people there. There's people that need help, and thank you for allowing them the opportunity.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, for those kind words. But as we know, it takes a whole team to make it happen. And as you said, Kelvin, truly, 3 weeks is what we had to make this happen. And in 3 weeks, to see the community pull together for our citizens that have lost their jobs, how emotionally they must be and how devastated they must be feeling with their families, and to know that the community has come together in a 3-week time to make this happen for them is amazing. And that just proves that when we come together, we can make anything happen. And it was very successful. And the city of Lancaster did an amazing job, as always. You guys definitely focused and made it happen. And to see all those companies that came for the job fair and really care about what was going to happen was very rewarding to see that. And to know that we had under 500 people come, we definitely got the word out to them. So again, I was very proud, and hopefully we'll continue to be there for them and help them and guide them and see what we can do as a community for them and their families. So thank you again for the kind words. Appreciate it.
Couple more announcements. This Saturday I had the occasion to go to the museum not once but twice. There was a wonderful high tea hosted at the museum, put on by the MOA staff, Parks and Recreation staff, and it was just visually stunning. It's the exhibit is worth people going to see anyway. It's very bright, it's very colorful, but to walk in there and watch all the mostly ladies with hats and dressed up very nicely, and tea and finger sandwiches, is a very classy affair. I felt very out of place.
I was just going to say, Mark, you were there. What hat were you wearing?
I was not, but I knew how to drink tea, so I was doing okay.
How'd you do that? You had
don't want
tea?
to show that again.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll be burned and never shown again.
He did. I had to ask again.
Got me off my feet. And then on that Saturday night,
you're red.
So are you. And you
I'm
weren't
embarrassed
there.
for you.
Wow, where was I? Oh, here we go.
The tea.
Oh, no, I'm past the tea.
You had your pinky out.
Saturday night, we also had, my wife and I had the occasion to go down to Lancaster Boulevard and have dinner down there, and it's just truly amazing the number of people during the nighttime that are down there, and just the activity and the pedestrians. I think it's going to be a great summer, and we're getting to the point, not that we can afford another Boulevard event, because we can, but that it really is a destination that people are just going to have fun and to meet people. So I was really impressed with how many people were there and how much fun people were having. And lastly, we did have the BYD grand opening dedication on May 1st. It's really a wonderful event. We've produced a short video on it that doesn't go as much into the details of the event, but just tried to capture some of the excitement and what the pride that people were feeling. So I'd like to show that, and then my announcements are done.
Thank you.
Very nice.
We're here at BYD Coach and Bus. We're China-based BYD, along with the city of Lancaster, about to announce the opening of this new facility where eventually they're going to build hundreds of these electric buses.
When you take the Chinese scientists and you take American scientists and merge them, there is nothing we cannot do. This is the beginning. It's an incredible beginning. Although I think they're a little bit modest. That is not a clean energy bus. That is a pure energy bus. There is no pollution.
We welcome you to our newest facility. Today is a very special day for us. Today marks the first time a Chinese vehicle company opens a manufacturing plant in the United States, here in Lancaster.
This promotion and support of these vital partnerships is how effectively LA County will continue our leadership in trade and economic development by encouraging foreign trade, foreign investment to create jobs and build our economy and maintain a quality of life for our citizens for today and for our children for the future.
I think it's splendid, and I take note to city leaders' remark that it very well may be the beginning of a new industry, and the Antelope Valley has a very long history of beginning new industries. We have rocket ships from here, and now we have electric buses. It's pretty great.
Of course, this was a lot of work by Mayor Paris. I've rode a lot of buses in Los Angeles, Orange County. This one's definitely different. It's quieter, a lot smoother. I'm very excited that this is all coming to fruition.
What we recognized in BYD was an opportunity to demonstrate that California's leading environmental public policy can also be a positive economic public policy. If we attract the solution providers in our search for a brighter economic and environmental future, the companies that will make the technologies that will allow us to not only clean our environment, but create more good jobs and more economic opportunity for the people of California. Because if we get that right, other states and other nations will follow our lead and demonstrate that economic prosperity and environmental sustainability can go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
City Clerk.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for you to address the City Council about any items that are not on the agenda. You'll find speaker cards at the back of the council chambers. We ask that you fill them out completely and print as clearly as possible so that if the council does need to get in touch with you or the city manager or city staff, they will have your complete information. As much as we appreciate your request to make comments before your 3 minutes begin, please understand your time begins when your name is announced. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. If you choose to ask a question during this time, any response by council does not extend your 3 minutes. When you approach the podium, you'll see 3 lights. The green light comes on when your time begins. The yellow light comes on when you have 30 seconds remaining. And the red light comes on when your time is up. We ask that you be considerate of the allotted time to allow other speakers to have their 3 minutes as well. Following this procedure will allow for a smooth and timely process for the meeting. State law prohibits the City Council from taking action on items not on the agenda, and your matter will be referred to the City Manager. Thank you.
Ruben Alvarado.
Hi, I'm Ruben Alvarado. I'm the crossing guard for Felinda Verde Elementary School. I'm requesting, I'm right there on the corner of Catering and 5th Street East. It's very dangerous there. I'm requesting either a 4-way stop there or speed bumps in there or an officer there from 7:30 a.m. until 8:30 or 2:30 until 3:30. It's very. I almost been run over twice already there, And I'm doing this for the safety of the kids. We got to have some safety there for the kids. We got to have something done there because there's no respect there, period. You see, so I'm requesting Councilman and Mayor, Chris Mayor, to see what we can do about it. All right?
Do they need to be slowed down?
They need to be slowed down. They need to be slowed
Captain?
down.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara Atkinson.
Good evening, Council, and thank you for allowing me to share with you. My name is Barbara Atkinson, and I am a grandparent of a child who attends Linda Verde Elementary School. On many occasions, I have personally witnessed the way people drive during the hours the children are arriving to school and when they are being dismissed. I have seen the crossing guard come very close to being hit. I myself have almost been hit. I have called the school district, the sheriff, the traffic division. It seems nobody wants to deal with this issue. All we are asking for is a four-way stop. I have collected over 200 signatures in support of this. I have gone around and looked at other schools for example, Tierra Bonita, Lincoln, Joshua, they all have four-way stops. Vista even has 2 crossing guards and 3 motorcycle deputies. Please, we are asking for something be done before someone is killed. What if it was your child or your grandchild having to cross the street? And I have called pupil safety at the school district. She told me they don't put up stop signs. I have called the traffic division at City Hall, and they told me that they would survey the area. Nothing has been done. This was over 4 weeks ago that I have called, and I have called the sheriff, and we know when there is a sheriff deputy in the area because everybody behaves. They slow down, so just having a deputy there helps. But they can't be there all the time, and they'll be there 1 or 2 days out of the week, but what about the other 3 days? Somebody's going to get killed, and so a four-way stop would help. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you report back to the council and let us know what's going to be done?
Yeah, they would do, as the woman mentioned, we would do a survey first to see if it meets the standards, and then we can certainly report back. I'm sure the survey is being conducted now.
Okay, thank you. Gene Myers.
Good evening. My name is Jean Myers. I also am a great-grandmother student at the school. I also worked at Linda Verde for 20 years in the Special K, the handicapped children. It definitely is a terrible place. It's so busy when those kids are coming out. Only this afternoon, by the way, Barbara is my daughter, and we have been down there collecting all of these signatures and speaking to all of the parents that come. All of them are very enthusiastic about getting a four-way stop or anything that will help. This afternoon, when he was out there directing the traffic on 5th Street, having them stop, these 2 little boys on bikes, they were teenagers, came tearing across and going down on Kettering. There was a big semi with heavy equipment on his trailer coming toward them, and he made a left-hand turn and put his brakes on, and I'm telling you, I would, because those kids came so close to being killed, and it would not have been his fault. Another thing they need to do at school is teach those kids some respect to the crossing guard. He takes them across the street, keeps them safe, but he constantly has to tell them to wait till I tell you to come, wait till I have my sign up. We also have drivers that need some respect for him. Many mornings, as we go over there every morning walking our kids to school, cars have come tearing by there, and they give him and a little word to go along with it. So, it sounds real funny, but come on. It won't be funny when somebody gets hit, And we have called everybody, and it's called, I now say, okay, pass them the buck. I called the newspaper this morning, I don't know where that young man is, but I think he's probably the one that I spoke to, and he said, I think you will get some action now. I think you have a case. I think we do, too. And I have seen that man dodge like that. Had he not done that, he'd have gotten hit. And you know, it's not only now at Linda Verde, but years ago I worked over Parkview. They did the same thing there. And I think that we need to elevate the crossing guards. They're not just some guy that...
Go ahead, you have 30 seconds.
They're just not some guy that came to get a minimum wage. They really care. Mm-hmm. Please help. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's my plea. And if there's anything I can do, let me know.
I love it.
We will take a look at it. Can we slow them down until we get the survey done? Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Michael Reeves.
Vice Mayor, Council, ladies and gentlemen, staff, I'd like to end the evening in a complimentary mode. First of all, I want to commend the city, Councilmember Johnston and the city manager's office for stepping up to help the Bank of America people. I ruffled a lot of feathers in this community about it because I was really concerned, and I'm very proud of our city manager and councilwoman for standing up and helping these people out. They really have problems coming down the road, and anything we can do is great. Secondly, I want to commend the Los Angeles County Fire Department and the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department for their excellent fire day. The fire people and the sheriff were incredible. I mean, I learned more that day than I knew about the fire department in my life. And some of the procedures that they use in 9/11, they still use today. And I've always felt very badly about 9/11. I even got a tattoo with 9/11 on my shoulder. So every day of my life, I think about 9/11 and firefighters and police officers, and thank you. And I want to commend Rhonda in the Parks Department because she has an incredible operation. The minute I called at City Hall for information, they give me abundance of information. When I go to Pierre Bang Park to swim, the staff are incredible. You know, we can change things and spend money and stuff, but it's the people that make our city and our county. And I want to commend all of you and commend the council for giving me the consideration to speak before you tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. Any comments? Cassandra?
I do. I just wanted to wish all the mothers on Sunday, hopefully all the moms had a great Mother's Day, a belated Happy Mother's Day, and got to enjoy and get spoiled a little bit by the fathers and their children. And also I think that we just need to give a really round of applause to our mayor for being so persistent and adamant to make history and have this community stand by him to make it happen with BYD. It was such an honor to be there that day and truly seeing history being made, and us, the city of Lancaster, being the example for other cities of thinking outside the box. So I just wanted to make sure we were able to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ken?
Yeah, one of the things that we probably are remiss with is Kaiser. I had the opportunity to be out there with the city manager and the deputy city manager and all the hardworking staff over here to the right. And what a great facility. I got to be able to say, here's another large facility that's going to help us get closer to net zero, and very impressive. So I think it's going to be a gem for City of Lancaster and Antelope Valley.
We have over 500,000 square feet in medical facilities being built right now?
Yes, 500, yes.
It's impressive.
It is very impressive. All to be opened within the next, by the middle of 14, they'll all be open.
That's impressive. Okay, we're going to recess to closed session with conference with legal counsel and anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D2. We have 3 potential cases in conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code 54956.9A.
Well done.
Yes. Okay, we'll now reconvene the meeting. City Attorney, your announcement, please.
Yes, pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2 and 54956.9A, Council gave direction to legal counsel and staff with regard to the items listed on the agenda, and in particular, Lancaster versus Housing Authority of the County of Los Angeles, Rubin versus Lancaster, the Antelope Valley groundwater cases, and that's it.
Okay. The Housing Authority meeting is adjourned till Tuesday, May 28th, 2013 at 5 p.m. And the City Council meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, May 28th, 2013 at 5 p.m. We stand adjourned.
He got the Navy Cross for it. He saved a bunch of guys, and his name is not any place around. And I think we should stop, look back, sit back a little bit, and think about what we do with our future, because those names are going to be there for a long time. BYD might not, and some of the other people that we name the streets for might not either. It's just our history I'm thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I can see the concern about that.